Tagging elevations. In this video, we will describe how can you tag an elevation and what is tagging an elevation. We will explain the metal input window and how to add the quantities to the elevations. Tagging elevations. The first step under your job, find the elevations under drafting, drawings, field use key sheets, and field use tags. Then use the command line type TM or tile mode and use the command line type LMM2. This is the layer your tag line will live on. Above in the ribbon, you will find WW takeoff metal tag and then pick one metal tag. The metal input box pops up. To show you how to work, remember to use the right elevation. I will describe it. You need to be using the elevations under drafting, drawing, field use tags. Do not get confused using other folders like contains similar elevations like the details or the field use key sheets. The clue in this is to use the TAGS file with the right elevation. This is the proper one to let the takeoff program works properly. This elevation has been set up with the data appropriate for the takeoff. Once that you are here, remember to use TM to go to model space and use LMM2 to be in the correct layer states. We will describe this later. On the very up of the window, you will find the metal takeoff under tag DLO, metal tag. Now describe how to use this metal input. This metal input windows will help you to connect your data with your elevations. When you pick on the metal tag, the metal input box pops up. Fill in the metal use what you name the use part. Use always distribution index as number 1. Use the elevation M key. In all elevation, we'll start with BS and the elevation number. In our case, we are using detail BS/XX. After the box is filled out, select OK. Going back to our CAD, you will notice like we have the metal input. Remember to use the correct name for the metal use. I will explain this. For example, remember in the UD window, like we are working with the W755969. This part use has to match what you have in your metal input window. So make sure to use the correct information here. In this case, I'm going to copy this from my UD window and go again to metal tag, and populate this one. I paste it. So in other words, wherever I have here, the metal use needs to match what I have for the part use to connect the CAD elevation with my data. Now I click on the number 1 and I use the elevation as previously discussed. In this case, is BS for break shifts and /01. And I hit OK. Now you can see it changed the icon for a cross, and I can draw a line where I need it. In this case, I'm going to draw here where I have my sunshade brackets located. And then I created a new tag. It is important to complete the detail tag. If for some reason I forget to add some of the information to my tag, I have 2 options. Number 1, it's I can select the tag and add here on the left side under the takeoff properties, the additional information as the detail. Or another option, it's double click on the tag and we'll populate again the metal input. In one way or another, it is very important to keep the leg. Always, we need to incorporate into our tags the detail number, which is this, and the use name for the part use. This part use, it's exactly the same as the use name here. Quantities in the elevation. On the command line, pick your beginning and end point of your tag line, as we already did it. And remember that all the break shape tag lines are magenta. Double click on the tag line to change its property colors to magenta. And use the command UPD that will run through the takeoff program and put a number on your tag lines. A box will pop up asking for the elevation quantity. In this case, I'm going to show you going back to the CAD detail. So from the previous instruction, I need to select this and change the color to magenta. Once that I have it, I will use the command UPD. And the first box is coming. It's asking me the total quantity for elevations. In this case, I have BS01, which is the first elevation. I hit OK. Once that I'm doing this, I will have the data here. So I can go back to the command LMM, in this case, which is coming by default. Keep in mind, like doing this, you probably will find another boxes the first time you're UPD. Those boxes are adding new parts to the database. For example, if it's the first time that the part is added to the database, a second box will pop up asking if you want to use MM as a prefix. You want to type in the prefix of the part you are using. For example, you will name BS for break shapes or cap if you are working in a cap, or BSAD if you're using end them at seal or stack joint. As you can see here, that window will ask you what is the prefix you want to use. In this case, if you hit no, you can add the new prefix required. After placing all your tags and filling out the metal input box, you will run UPD. The text displaying the mark numbers will populate on the frozen layer tag 4 and should be moved to the layer tag 5. Then move text so it is legible when printed to PDF. Let's get started and see exactly how to do these last steps here. Before to do that, it is important to explain how this is working. So going back to the very original opening of the CAD, I'll notice like I have 4 commands or 5. I can use LMM1 when I'm working with field use tags, LMM2 when I'm working on shop use break shapes, LMM when I'm working on metal takeoff, and LMS when I'm having shop use, or LMG when I have a class. When I'm using this command, all my tags associated to the tag number 3 were populated. For example, from the metal takeoff, you will receive all your tags in LMM. So that's mean that every time I type that command, only those tags will populate here because those tags are under LMM or the tag number 4. If I'm working on metal field use, I can use LMM1 and make sure like all my tags are on the layer number 3. LMM2, it's for our shop use break shape. So this is very important to understand because this means like all our tags when it's populated from the UPD it will contain, or it will be on layer number or tag 5 in this case. As you can see, there's two ways to change it. You can go to select the text and then go here on the preview and click tag 5, or you can do it on the left side under the WW takeoff ribbon and then select here on the layers, and then you select the appropriate one. As we previously mentioned, we have another two commands to use. LMS, that's for shop use. We don't use very frequently this one, but it's important to you to understand. And in very old time, we used to use the LMG when we used to work with glass takeoff. But right now, all the glass marks should be included for tag 1 when you're working for glass. So going back to all of our instruction, it is very important for you to understand this logic. Going back to my main elevations. So now I can see, like, once that I UPD that elevation or that mark number, it's generated with this text. And as you can see, by default, all the time it's coming as tag number 4. So I need to change that one to tag number 5. There you go. And then verify like LMM2 to make sure like only that text is showing me in my elevation. This is an easy way to only see what I really need and avoid any conflict or a crowded elevation. In this case, the only one I need to do to complete my elevation, it's copy my tag from here to all the appropriate locations where I'm needed, because I'm in the same elevation and I'm using the same mark numbers or the same logic for the fabs. I'm gonna save time, copy this tags here, and then click here, here, here. I need my sunshade brackets, and that's all what I need. So again, if I UPD, all those mark numbers is going to be there. We cannot see right now, but remember to go to LMM, which is by default when I have it. One way to save time, it's when I have a lot of mark numbers from the same, I can use on annotate and find. And if I type SB1 dash, for example, and hit enter, I will find all the same mark numbers or text that contains that one into my CAD drawing. So I can select all those there and hit here, create or selection set. I hit enter. And now I don't need to be clicking each one in order to save time. So I can go and save or change the tag from 4 to 5. It will ask me to, some of those are froze and there is not a problem. So I can go to LMM2 and there you go. I have all my text in the right layer state. So again, I'll repeat that one because I want to move a little bit all my text. So in order to avoid wasting time selecting each one, I can just select the entire elevation marks and make a little bit of adjustment here. And there you go. So now I have a more readable text. And if I consider like I need to move somewhere in order to be visible, I can make those changes. But for now, this concludes this video. And it's very important to remember, like we use the magenta lines with the appropriate data here associated to the UD windows in order to do these changes. Something important I want to mention to you, it's like, if in the future I change something here, for example, I don't want to use the part name and I prefer to use SB, every single change I'm doing here, it will be reflected or affected, in other words, with this part use. So if in this case I've run UPD here, I will lost all my connection here. So the only what I need to do is remember, like if I do any change here on the part use, needs to match what I have on my tags. In this case, I want to leave this SB, and the proper solution, it's going on to a takeoff property and shift on all the tags, select all those tags, and change the part use in order to match what I have in the UD window. So if I hit SB and then click in another place, there you go. And again, if I UPD, I'm going back to LMM. There you go. I have again my marks. So I'll do the same what I previously did it. Select all those there and move a little bit more. There you go. And change. Remember to change to LMM or tag number 5. There you go. So I'm back where I'm started, but at least that helps us to understand how this part use works and the importance to matching with the part use on the left side on this condition. This concludes our video.